Hello, welcome to Game 2 of the semi-final here. Jonathan Randle 1-0 up with his flash deck against Simon Marshall's Angel Reanimator. And the question we always like to ask here is, what's going to have been sideboarded?
I imagine that Jonathan's going to have brought in cards like Rest in Peace or something along those lines, which are going to attack Simon's graveyard. Simon, for his part, he may have brought in a couple of ways to try and force through his cards through counter spells. But I'm not too sure overall what he's going to end up doing a lot of sideboarding with. Generally, Reanimator decks tend to have a bit of a sideboard in order to deal with the faster decks in the environment. So, dealing with control decks, he might have brought in cards like, ooh, we've got a knock on the camera there. He might have brought in cards that will allow him to beat down a little bit earlier. Don't worry, we will get the camera sorted out. So Jonathan with his second land there.
Simon's got his Farseek out, which is what he needed to get out.
Yeah, it'll allow him to play a Huntmaster turn 3. Hopefully for him getting through any potential counter magic Jonathan will have. Jonathan may have bought in a couple of extra counter spells as well. Potentially negate and essence scatter. Cards that he could potentially have in his sideboard. Fourth land for Simon, and there's Huntmaster of the Fells. You'll notice he also has Gavany Township in his main deck, so that's certainly something he can use if he can get something in play. Jonathan just putting the hand up, wait a minute. Oh, I've got a wolf.
Simon likes playing on Jonathan's
yeah,
half of the match there.
Jonathan's like, can you please play on your half of the table? See Huntmaster like chest bumping against John's permanence there. What are you doing about it? Jonathan with Azorius Charm there.
Looking for his third land.
No, it looks like he has it in hand. He's just going to play a Thought Scour here, I think, main phase, just to make sure that the Huntmaster doesn't flip. Gets to think twice into the graveyard.
Which is quite nice.
Yeah, a little bit of card advantage there.
Definitely means the Huntmaster won't flip the next turn either.
Yep, true. Although he can't cast it this turn, he's looking for potentially another Thought Scour. A Pillar of Flame would obviously be a very nice card to see here. Makes Glacial Fortress, meaning that he could have Azorius Charm or Think Twice or Unsummon. Plenty of ways to stop that Huntmaster dealing any sort of real damage. Longer the game goes, the Township's going to come more into it on Simon's side. It's a pretty spectacular card overall against any deck trying to pin down your creatures. Although with the fact that Jonathan has Unsummon and Azorius Charm at his disposal, this it doesn't hold as much water as it would against, say, another deck.
Certainly Jonathan can represent a Snapcaster as well.
Yep. Simon does not fear and just sends his guys in.
So maybe what Jonathan's trying to do here is bait Simon into not playing anything this turn, you know.
Yeah, just to try and flip his Huntmaster.
Get him to waste his main phase.
If Simon had a fifth land there, he could pass without being too worried because he could just put counters on his guys. But it looks like he doesn't have the fifth land, so he's just going to make a second Huntmaster of the Fells here. Another wolf coming in. I believe Jonathan does have access to Supreme Verdict, so this certainly isn't a disastrous board position, but it's one that he doesn't really want to let get out of control at this point.
Would those be in his sideboard?
Rest in Peace is, yes.
But the Supreme Verdict would be main.
I think he might run one main, one board. And the Supreme Verdict just wipes up the two Huntmasters, and we're back in this situation where Simon really needs to try and put pressure on this turn, because if he doesn't, then John's going to untap and feel a bit more comfortable with himself here. Faithless looting from Simon, probably looking to discard an Angel at this point. I mean, just reanimating an Angel and getting 2 Huntmasters back would be fine here.
I think it'd be an excellent result.
Yeah.
More than just a little bit fine, given Jonathan probably won't have another RAF effect.
Yeah, definitely.
Angels are quite tough to burn out.
Yeah, 4/6. It's a pretty solid guy, really.
And he has to deal with the Huntmasters the same turn as well, or else they start getting counters on them as well.
Exactly. Geist on a Monk going to the graveyard. Unfortunately, we can't see what the second card is. Well, again, that's going to be a fairly difficult card for Jonathan to deal with as well, but it's all about getting that card back. So he passes to Jonathan, which Jonathan will be very happy with. No 5th land. 3 mana. Flashing back, think twice, main phase.
Maybe looking for his land, which he gets there.
No, he already had it looking at that. And, oh, he flashed it back so he can play Rest in Peace at this point. So there goes Simon's graveyard and any hope of using his graveyard in the future, unless he can find something like a Golgari Charm. And he casts a Geist on a Monk, which at this point is a 3/3, bringing in 2 1/1s with it.
Play on your own, Matt, Simon. Jonathan having to move his stuff back as the invading armies come in.
Yeah. See, I thought with Simon's lands that far forward, he might have been one of the guys who plays with his guys behind his lands, you know, old school.
Used to annoy the hell out of judges, people like that.
I don't know if it's still an option on Magic Online to do that. Yeah, Simon's going to turn the boys sideways. That's 5 coming in. And he's going to activate Gavany Township here. I think John might just be hold it, hold it, hold it. This looks like either Searing Spear or Azorius Charm. That's Searing Spear coming down. Yep.
Yeah, then he'll probably drop an Angel in the way, I imagine.
Yep, the 2 counters go on, and here's the Angel.
Yeah.
Block that, take 2. Pretty good turn overall that for Jonathan, I think. I think Jonathan's just going to quietly sit here drawing cards and beating down with the Angel at this point. Well, he does have to look out for his life total a little bit at this point, but I don't think a 2/2 Spirit's going to bother him that much. Now there's a Rest in Peace in play, obviously he's going to start thought scouring Simon. He gets rid of an Unburial Rites with that. You can see a Hallowed Fountain sitting in John's hand there.
Maybe doesn't want to start swinging yet.
Well, he knows that that township can activate again next turn, so the Spirit will turn into a 3/3, so the Spirit will very quickly start out racing his Angel. I mean, tokens aren't really the best creatures to have against a deck full of Azorius Charms and Unsummons, but it's pretty much what Simon has at this point until he can start hard casting Angel of Glory's Rise. And just passing the turn back to Jonathan. And this sort of glacial pace is going to suit
At this
Jonathan,
point he does have to attack with the Angel, since it won't be able to block next turn.
Yep. So he takes Simon's life total down a bit. Makes Hallowed Fountain untapped, so I think we're looking at Sphinx's Revelation coming up here. Simon just beefs up his Spirit token a little bit. Five mana. Another Geist-Honored Monk from Simon.
Uncounterable.
Yep.
No doubt. He'll only be naming Angel and Human.
Yep. With his caverns. And here we go, Sphinx's Revelation for 5 coming in. It's kind of a little bit of a tell when they make their 8th land untapped in control deck and take 2 for it. It's like, yeah, that's because you're gaining 1 back with your Sphinx's Revelation that you're going to cast. So, fairly substantial board for Simon at this point, so Jonathan's got to find some kind of answer for it. With a grip full of cards, you'd hope that he'd have some kind of answer for it.
Lots of decisions to make, obviously, with all the cards in his hand.
Yeah, exactly. Not as many with Rest in Peace in play because he can't interact with his graveyard, but that's about...
Or just deciding which are the 4 ways to kill Simon.
This looks fairly big. Whatever it is, it's 6 mana, 7 mana. That's Angel of Serenity from Jonathan, so he's going to wipe out all of Simon's tokens.
Certainly can't go for anything in the graveyard.
No. And so now Simon's just got the lonely 1/1 Geist Honored Monk staring down 2 pretty enormous angels.
He's not winning this race.
Yeah, I don't think attacking into that angel's the way forward. And that's Nightshade Peddler from Simon, so he's going to give his Geist Honored Monk Death Touch, but that's about goes. He might not even pair it there. He might just make his Staticaster.
Pairing seems really bad.
Yeah.
You don't want to draw your Staticaster next turn.
Yeah.
Well, indeed, he might have it in his hand.
I think he would have cast it if he had it in his hand there.
Well, he doesn't need to.
Because he does have the caverns.
He has the caverns.
Yeah. Jonathan with a really bad draw card there. But he's just cycling through his deck at such speed at this point that I can't imagine he doesn't have answers for pretty much anything that Simon wants to do at this point. Simon blocks the Snapcaster Mage there with his 2/2. He's going to end up taking 8 off this attack.
I don't think even a Staticaster at this point is enough.
No, not really.
Looks like Jonathan's going with Sphinx's Revelation. By the way, he was counting his land there. He was trying to possibly work out how much he could do it for.
Yep. And Simon's just going to scoop.
So we'll move on and see what happens in the final and who gets to play Jonathan.
If I draw a land, I can unbarrel it. You know when I face the fruity? Yes, I know. If I get the land, that's it. I can reanimate the angel. Yeah, and that was the gamble.